My wife, Victoria, and I had just moved into what we thought was our dream neighborhood. It was one of those pristine, gated communities with perfectly manicured lawns and a homeowners association that seemed to have a rule for everything. We were excited, especially since Victoria had just been promoted. She was the new police chief of our city, a huge accomplishment she'd worked tirelessly for. To celebrate, I bought her a brand new custom Rolls-Royce Ghost. It was a sleek, midnight blue beauty, a testament to her dedication. The day it arrived, Victoria was ecstatic. She parked it in our driveway, just for a few hours, wanting to admire it before we made space in the garage. That was our first mistake. The next morning, we woke up to a nightmare. The Rolls was a wreck. The windshield was shattered, the hood was dented, and deep scratches ran along its side. It looked like someone had taken a baseball bat to it. We were both in shock. Who would do something like this? Tucked under the windshield wiper was a smug little note. It read, Rule 1, 7B. All vehicles must be parked in the garage overnight. This is your first and final warning. Welcome to the neighborhood. The HOA. Victoria's face went from disbelief to a cold, hard fury I had never seen before. She didn't say a word. She just took a picture of the note, then calmly called for a forensics team from her precinct to come over. This wasn't just vandalism anymore. It was personal. Leading the charge against us was the head of the HOA, a woman named Brenda. She was the self-proclaimed queen of the neighborhood, a busybody with too much time on her hands and a thirst for power. When my wife and I attended our first HOA meeting a few days later, Brenda was preening. She made a grand speech about upholding community standards and the importance of following the rules, with several pointed looks in our direction. Victoria let her finish. Then she stood up. The room quieted down. "My name is Victoria," she said, her voice steady and clear. "And as of last week, I am the new chief of police for this city." You could have heard a pin drop. Brenda's smug smile vanished, replaced by a look of pure, unadulterated panic. Victoria continued, "The vehicle that was vandalized in my driveway is now part of an ongoing criminal investigation. We have security footage from a neighbor's camera, and we have lifted fingerprints from the note that was left. Destroying private property is a felony." Brenda started sputtering, trying to backtrack, claiming it was all a misunderstanding, that maybe some kids were responsible. But it was too late. The other board members looked horrified, quickly distancing themselves from her. Over the next week, Victoria's investigation moved with surgical precision. The security footage clearly showed two figures, easily identifiable as Brenda's two sons, both in their late teens, smashing up the car while Brenda watched from her porch. The fingerprints on the note matched hers perfectly. Faced with the irrefutable evidence, Brenda and her sons were arrested. The charges were serious: felony vandalism, conspiracy, and, for Brenda, contributing to the delinquency of minors. The news spread through the neighborhood like wildfire. Suddenly, our doorbell started ringing. One by one, our neighbors came over, not to complain, but to thank us. It turned out Brenda had been terrorizing the community for years with her petty tyranny. People shared stories of absurd fines for having the wrong shade of garden gnomes, threats for kids playing too loudly, and constant harassment. They had been too afraid to stand up to her. Our ordeal had finally broken a reign of terror. The HOA was forced to dissolve and reform under new leadership, with a focus on community rather than control. The new board immediately revised the ridiculous rules Brenda had put in place. As for the Rolls-Royce, our insurance covered the repairs, but the satisfaction of seeing justice served was priceless. Brenda lost her house to pay for legal fees and damages, a steep price for her arrogance. Victoria became a local hero. She didn't just clean up crime on the streets, she cleaned up our own neighborhood. We finally got the peace and quiet we'd hoped for, and a community that felt like a real community. And every time I see that beautiful blue Rolls-Royce gleaming in our garage, I'm reminded that sometimes the best way to deal with a bully is to let them learn the hard way that they messed with the wrong person. It turns out my wife isn't just an amazing police chief, she's also the undisputed queen of epic comebacks. Thanks for watching our story unfold. If you've ever had a crazy HOA story of your own, drop it in the comments below. We'd love to read them. And don't forget to like and subscribe to Karen Conflict for more content. See you next time.